Hey, good afternoon. Scott Fischer here and John Green with Scott Fischer Enterprise and Digital Lead Performance. I'm sure that you've had an opportunity recently to see some of our press release, some of the communication we've had out there in the marketplace, but we wanted to take an opportunity to, as Harley-Davidson dealers just like you, share with you what we got going on right now in Scott Fischer Enterprise. Digital Lead Performance is a pretty exciting venue for us, and we're going to talk about the history and why we're doing it and what's in it for you. John, so let's talk about the history of Digital Lead Performance. Why are we in that business right now?
Okay. I think first and foremost, like everybody else out there that's a dealer, you want to sell more motorcycles. That's the fundamental reason why this thing really began, is our desire to sell more bikes.
Every month we go to zero on the first day of the month.
Right. Where are we gonna get our appointments? Where's our customers? All that stuff. Same thing. So we've actually been using this program internally in our group of stores for about 4 years, 3.5, 4 years. And it really started because we started to see, and at this point in time, we still had 6 dealerships. We started seeing those stores that the effectiveness of follow-up on online web leads that were coming into our stores was just not getting done as well as it could get done with the salespeople that are on the floor. Would they follow up with a customer? How long would it take? What would they say? Shotgunning those leads around to the different salespeople out there. Would they put the notes in the CRM? All those things were in some stores better than others, some days better than others. So there were some issues, and I think we decided, we kind of all pulled back and said there's got to be a better way to do this. And so who did we tap?
So one of the key things, one of the key items that we found was we took our very best sales manager. At that time, Aaron Barney, who'd been with us for about 14 or 15 years. He's now been with us for 17 years. Great experience throughout the whole Harley-Davidson and motorsports dealership. And we said, we need to bring the best guy in who really understands the sales process, understands the sales team, understands the marketing for the sales department. And I think that what we learned from Aaron was that as a sales leader, he couldn't let anything die. You know, he looked at all the business that was coming in, and he was looking for ways on how do we improve our marketing, how do we increase our leads, and how do we follow through with our leads till the customer buy or dies.
Yeah. And I think some of the learning for us, one of the big takeaways, is when we allowed Aaron to remove himself. We literally took him and put him in an office in one of the stores, and then subsequent to that, we actually moved him into an office outside of the dealership. So Aaron and his team, as they are today, this is an off-site location, this is all they do.
Right.
There's no distraction. They don't get called to cover the desk. They don't get called to take pictures of the bikes,
right,
move inventory. They answer online leads for our stores and for other dealers now.
So let's talk about that a little bit more. So one of the key things, and you brought it up, was when Aaron was in the dealership, he had those distractions. You know, the service department, the HR department, the marketing, all the different things that happen to all of us inside the dealership. Now, if we move to today, where we're in that off-site location, what do we measure every day? Every day we measure how many leads did we make contact with, how quickly did we make contact with those leads. We'll talk about that in a second. How many appointments did we make from the leads?
Yep.
And how many of those appointments were kept? All we can do is create opportunities inside the store. It's the sales department and the sales team's responsibility to take those kept appointments and turn them into sales. But let's talk about what that performance is. Like where do we currently stand right now, John, with leads, with appointments that we've set, with phone calls that we've made, with kept appointments? What kind of statistics do we have right now? Because it's pretty exciting, and anybody in our business, when we share this information, it's hard for them to believe that our pilot program, of multiple stores have these kind of results.
Yep. And so, data-wise, this is for the month of July, last day of July, so this is through midday today, because we track this stuff all the time by the minute. And this is, like Scott said, this is not just for our stores. So when we started this, multiple stores, we've divested of most of those stores over the last few years, so we just have two, which has allowed us the opportunity to really dive into this venture. And so this is our stores and other stores inside this data. But we have 85% of all the leads that have come in to the dealership's websites that we work with, 85% of those leads have been converted to appointments. 85%.
85%. I'll make sure that you really heard that correctly. 85% of digital leads. And those are all leads that the dealership already had coming in.
They didn't have to spend any more money on marketing. They didn't have to do anything else. We go in, we look at how many leads do you get, where do leads come from, and we say, okay, you've got this many and it's going to require this much for us to follow up. Leads come in. We're under 6 minutes on response time. That's one of the keys. Part of the other reason that set rate on appointments is so high is this is very well scripted email and text templates as well as phone scripts, so we know what's happening. So the timeliness of response, what's being said, what's being written, the tenacity and the duration of the follow-up, because we're going to follow up with these things until that appointment shows up and buys a bike or until they tell us just to stop.
Right.
So 85% set. That's really good.
Okay, so 85%. So if we get 100 leads in a week,
you get 85 appointments.
with 85 appointments. So if we get 85 appointments, I mean the bells ring, and I mean, you know, we're getting tons of appointments, we're celebrating. How many of those appointments are being kept inside? How many people are showing up that we know for a fact?
54%.
So over half of the appointments that we set are showing up in the dealership. And of that half, how many of those appointments are purchasing motorcycles?
26%.
26%. There's a big performance there.
And I think what's interesting, our internal, the areas of the process that we can affect, lead to appointment set to appointment kept. Okay, we affect that. Aaron and his team, our agents, affect that. That's very consistent, dealer to dealer to dealer to dealer. We do see some variance on delivery versus kept appointment, store to store to store to store. And that's, you guys know, that's just based on different stores operate different ways, different levels of talent, different process, just different.
So that brings up a really, really good point, something we've learned in this process right now. So what you said was, one of the key things we see is the performance from kept appointments to delivery, and we have been able to, one, give feedback to the dealer about their performance, okay? And, you know, we're not here to really coach and or consult for dealers in their sales process, but I think we can share the data across all dealerships and the performance that dealerships have from kept appointments. And, you know, we really truly believe that one of the biggest value added in DLP is that a dealership, its sales manager, its general manager, its F&I manager can spend more time focused on what they do best, which is work the traffic in the store, prepare for the appointments. Get prepared for the appointments that are coming in, because when you're prepared, when you have motorcycles ready for people to look at, when you know what that customer really wants to talk about as an appointment, the opportunity for those kept appointments to close become much greater. But there's quite a few other areas that we've uncovered as well that we see inside the dealership. And I think we see this because we are dealers. We do see where the strengths and weaknesses are inside of our dealerships, because everything we're talking about here today we're doing inside of our store as well. And we're making changes in our stores because of what we're learning. And we're learning things that we didn't learn inside the store like we're learning on the outside.
No. It's an interesting snapshot. You from the outside, even outside of our own stores, looking in, what the data tells you, or the data leads you to ask questions about things. So when we wrap up, we're going to wrap up in just a second. There's going to be a link at the bottom of this video. It's embedded in there. You guys can click on that. There'll be more information. You can schedule a demo, all that stuff. And I'll tell you why it's worth your time. Because we've got some ROI numbers here. Okay, ROI.
Like stock market?
The market's been really good right now, so this is performing on pace.
That's kind of hard to compare right now because stock market's good.
ROI for our group of dealers over 90 days. For every dollar they spend, they're getting $8 in return, all the way up to $14 in return.
So you're saying if I give you $1, you're giving me 8 back?
Give me 8 back,
Whatever
or 10,
close.
or 12, or 14.
Pretty
That's a huge ROI. So you're getting more back than you're spending for this is one thing. The fact that it operates all the time. This is 7 days a week. If you're open, we're following up with your leads. Regardless, we have dealers in all the time zones. We've got our staff staggered, so we cover. If you're open, we're covering your leads. You have appointments every day. You have credit apps coming over every day. That just gets handled. It's the machine that never sleeps. You don't have to feed it. It doesn't quit. You don't have to retrain it. You don't have to pay its benefits, any of that stuff. It's just here and it works. And I think the other thing, this one blew me away. In the month of July, for all the stores that we work with, our team, Aaron and his agents, will make more than the entire sales department has made. So for the month, if they made 5,000 phone calls out of a dealership outbound, Aaron's team will be responsible for over 2,500 of them. Think about that. If you believe in particles out equals particles in, massive.
Yeah, I think it's pretty important also to share a little bit of the information around how Aaron has also created a daily, weekly, monthly communication with the dealers to bring the teams together, the sales managers together, or the internet managers together, and share the results like a 20 club. We want to be able to grow this so that the teams learn from each other. That's really important because what one dealership does, we can learn from the other, and we're learning how to build a better platform. And ultimately, this is all about selling more motorcycles. I mean, at the end of the day, this is about how do we find solutions to selling more motorcycles. And I think that you'll find if you go on and you click to really get on our webinar and get a
demo.
A real demo from Aaron, I think that we can show you where we can help you achieve your results, and we can do that very effectively from a cost standpoint.
Yes. It's been exciting.
Yeah, it's been exciting. We're rolling right now, and we're excited to bring more dealers on. We just literally announced the program. We've been doing the pilot program, but we just announced the program this past week. And we've had a lot of activity in a very short period of time, and we're excited about the activity that we're going to see. We're going to be at the dealer show. We're going to see you at the dealer show. We're not trying to really go through much demonstration there, but we want to be able to pass out our information, get you signed up for webinars, and get you activated. And as we roll out a season, a lot of you roll out a season, this is a great opportunity to learn a lot more about how you can prepare for next year.
Yep. Timing's good. Click that link, check out a demo. Scott and John here. Thanks for the time.
Ride hard.